Greetings gamers everywhere, I'm Swipper92 and we're in Jotunnslayer Hordes of Hell in this video. Well, in my previous video about Achilles Survivor, I did talk about that I was doing some reviews for 1.0 updates that have come to a few roguelikes I have in my library, and Jotunnslayer Hordes of Hell is one of those games. I have already done a video on the 1.0 update specifically for this game. Check that out if you're interested in what came with the 1.0 update, but this is a overall review of the entire game. Now, if you don't know what Jotunnslayer Hordes of Hell is, it's a Viking-style roguelike action game with gory and gothic style of graphics, as you can see by the gameplay. It's kind of an RPG, I guess, if you count the different characters, but yeah, we'll get into all the characters and all of that in this video. But we're gonna start off with what's a normal type of run in Jotunnslayer Hordes of Hell. Now, first of all, you will have to choose a few things, of course. Now, you choose the map, and you choose a character, and you maybe even add some modifiers, and you also choose the difficulty. Now, there are multiple difficulties per map. There are multiple modifiers per map, and the gameplay that you will see in this video is mostly on insane difficulty, I would say. So that's why there's a lot of enemies, and some of the objectives that pop up on the screen that I have to complete are on hard difficulty. More on that later. Now, as of right now, there are 6 characters in the game, which doesn't sound like a lot, but uh, it's enough. I say that it's enough. Each having multiple weapons to choose from, and each weapon also have a unique passive ability and a unique active ability that you can activate. Now, you unlock these weapons by using soul stones, which is a currency you get from defeating a boss at the end of a map. And in each run, you get to choose 2 character abilities and 3 god abilities. Now, when choosing abilities for the gods, well, you can only have 3 god abilities. Now, that means you can only have 3 gods in one run, and this includes passives. So if you choose a passive from one god, yeah, you're gonna have that god is gonna be in your repertoire in that run. So if you only choose passive abilities from 3 gods, well, those are the gods that you're gonna have to choose abilities from for the rest of the run. Now, there are plenty of gods to choose from and plenty of passives and active abilities among the gods, and we're gonna get into more of that when we talk about the skill trees. And the same goes for the character abilities. There are plenty to choose from, so a run in this game can be very different depending on what character you choose and how you decide to build them. Now, each map has objectives to complete as well, and depending on the difficulty, there will be a different amount of time for you to survive on the map, because the amount of objectives is different. Because, well, the longer you have to survive, the more objectives you will have to complete. And you will need to complete these objectives to summon the boss. So, yeah, if time runs out before you've summoned the boss, the map will count as completed, sort of, but you won't get to fight the final boss, which is mainly the way to unlock new modifiers and other things. You need to kill the boss to officially complete the map, you could say. But if you don't complete a run, if you die or time runs out, you still get the gold and soul stones you have picked up until that point. more on gold when we talk about the skill tree. But for now, let's talk about the difficulty of the game and the difficulty of the maps. Because there are multiple maps, and they are very different from one another. I love the map design. Now, the first map might be a little bit underwhelming, considering it's just a plain flat map, but it really steps up from there after that. Now, one of the maps you'll see in this gameplay is very bright, and it looks like it's on top of a hill or mountain. And yeah, this one is a little bit unique in that it's windy up here. So for example, sometimes there will be a wind at random intervals, at least I believe it's random, and the wind will either slow you down or make you run faster depending on which way it blows. So yeah, this can really hinder you or it can help you. Another map has cannons firing at you, and if you don't destroy the cannons, well, more cannons are just gonna spawn after a while, and sooner or later you're gonna have 3 or 4 cannons shooting at you at the same time. So yeah, and there are a lot of other things on the other maps as well. I mean, the map design is really good in this game. And I do think that they managed a really good balance for the difficulty as well. Now, of course, the modifiers that I've talked about before, yeah, they really add to the difficulty. Now, modifiers are somewhat unique to each map. Each map has their own version of some kind of mechanic that will be added to the map if you choose that. Now, and you also need to complete different things to unlock some modifiers. For example, completing the map on Insane, completing it with that character, or doing that to that. You need to complete things to unlock the modifiers. And I do think that it can be a little bit of a grind to some of those modifiers, but it's really fun using the modifiers for some. Uh, um, with the Warden gameplay, you'll see the little dwarf, and you'll see that he sometimes he gets drunk, and that's a happy hour modifier that makes your controls reversed. Well, your controlling the character is reversed, so up is down and left is right and so on, you know. And when that one kicks in at the wrong time, whew, honestly, I'm glad I played on hard for that one, because I only played on hard to unlock the skin for that character, and I didn't want to play on Insane. Mainly because the Warden, well, I guess he's the weakest link among the characters there, because, yeah, the game has some weak points, but they're far and few between, I would say. Now, the Warden is the weakest, I would say, mainly because he can't dodge, but also because yeah, I don't know. His abilities doesn't seem to hit that hard. Anyway, I do think that they've struck a very good balance between in the difficulty. I mean, hard is hard, insane is insane, but insane on just insane, well, once you manage to really get into the game, it becomes quite not easy, not easy, but easier at least. But then you add some modifiers, and whoo, boy, you're in for a ride. Now, some modifiers can really change up the game and really just wreck you, especially the first time, as you don't know what to do, or what will happen, rather, I guess. But it's really fun experimenting with different builds and different modifiers and all that. I believe that they really hit gold with the map designs. I really hope the developers will either make a sequel or just add more to this version of the game. Really love. Skill trees in this game are pretty basic. There are multiple skill trees, and there are one for each character and one for each god. Now, there are a bunch of passives to unlock, and there are also active things to unlock. Now, each character does have one active ability in each of their tree that you don't have at the start, but all the other skills, or rather all skills, can be evolved at level 18. because during a run you can only level up your ability when you, the character, have reached a certain level in the run. So at level 18 you can get to the evolved version of the ability. But to get a evolved version of ability you first need to unlock it in the skill tree. This goes for both character abilities and the god abilities. But I do recommend getting a lot of the passive bonuses first. Maybe focus on one character at a time because there are multiple characters to unlock, but I would focus maybe on one or two characters at the start just to get a startup for your economy, let's say. Now, skill points in the game are acquired by collecting gold. During a run, you get collect gold by defeating enemies who randomly drop gold. You get it from completing objectives. You can get it from looting chests if you choose that. And yeah, that's basically how you earn gold. And with the gold, when you go to the skill tree tab, you will get all that gold will automatically be converted into skill points. Now the skill points, well, all the skills can cost between 1 to 6 skill points. So it will take a fair amount of time to do this, but I do have a video on how you can actually farm gold, so check that out if you're interested. Now, that that video is a little bit old, but it still works quite well for what you want to do, especially early on. The skill trees for each god is very unique, and I do really feel that they've really taken advantage of all the gods and their abilities. I do favor some gods above others, while some are more. They're very specifically like, if I really want to do this, I choose this god. But I don't feel like one god is above others in terms of quality. All of them feels like I could choose this type of god and still complete the run even on insane difficulty. So yeah, I feel like they really managed well with the balance in this game. Another way to earn skill points and soul stones is also the trophy hall, which is basically in-game achievements. And they will give you skill points and soul stones, or skill points or soul stones, I should say, depending on what you complete. And I think it's a good way of doing it. That I guess the only problem I have is that once you've completed the skill trees, I mean, you're not gonna have any. Trust me, you're not gonna be done with the trophy hall, not in the slightest. Unless you've really aimed for all the achievements in that. Now, not all achievements in the trophy hall are achievements on Steam, so at least there's that, because some of these achievements can be very grindy, which is one of the negatives to this game to me. Now, it isn't a deal breaker, far from it. The game is still awesome, but yeah, I feel like the trophy hall achievements can be way too grindy at times. And another negative thing on the game is that there can be too much on the screen sometimes. Too many things happening both from me and from enemies and environmental factors. It gets really difficult to see like red areas from attacks. Enemies are like attacking with red areas, big area attacks. And I can't see it because my character is just spamming abilities all over the screen. Uh, Plus, there are enemies who leave damaging zones on the ground, and I can't see them because there's so much else happening. Yeah, I really don't like that, but as I said with the previous point, it's not a deal breaker. It's annoying, but most of the time I can survive it. To me, nothing in this game is a real deal breaker. So yeah, I definitely recommend this roguelike. And as I've said previously in other reviews of roguelikes, I always look for what's unique about the game, and to me the uniqueness in this game is mainly the art style and just everything about this game. Everything just goes together. There are small things in this game just goes together and creates this unique and fun roguelike. Now, if I would say that if you're looking for a game that will keep you occupied for dozens of hours, well, I have roughly 35 hours in the game and I'm almost done with all the skill trees, but I got plenty of achievements left to hunt, you could say, and I'm not sure even how to get all the achievements yet. So yeah, you can definitely sink a few dozen hours into this game. So yeah, give it a shot if you like roguelikes. That's all I got for you in this video. This has been Jotunnslayer Hordes of Helheim review. Do you have any thoughts on the game? Put it down in the comments. I've been Swift92, have a great life, and I hope some future videos. Bye bye!